What is up, gamers? Last weekend I put together the Simpsons Arcade game from Arcade1Up and unfortunately realized that some of the directional movement on my joysticks were not working. Today I'm going to show you exactly how I fixed it in a detailed step-by-step process. If you enjoyed this and if it was helpful to you, please subscribe to our channel today. Alright, so this is the full step-by-step process that I'm going to be following today in order to fix the joystick for the Simpsons Arcade game. Please follow along and also take a screenshot of this for your own reference. Beginning with step 1, we are going to unplug the cabinet from the outlet. Why, do you ask? For electrical safety and also to increase the ease of the fix. This is a relatively straightforward step, but just to make sure that we're all following along, I've attached a video here so you can see exactly what to do. For step 2, we're going to be unscrewing the game board from the cabinet with a Phillips head screwdriver. Why? To get access to the back of the joystick controls. If you want a pro tip for this step, use a power drill with a Phillips head bit for quicker access. Step number 2 is also a relatively straightforward step in the process, but I thought a video might help. Here we are, we're unscrewing the 4 screws that connect the game board top to the cabinet base. If you're the person who put this together, you're probably fully aware of these 4 screws. Using a power drill with a Phillips head bit or a Phillips head screwdriver, you can easily unscrew these 4 screws and then you'll have access to the underneath of the joystick controls. Alright, there we are. We just need to collect the 4 screws, put them somewhere for safekeeping, and now we can disconnect the game board from the base. For step 3, we're going to be disconnecting both of the wires that go from the back of the game board to the monitor. Why? The ease of turning over the game board, and also as a pro tip for this step, do this cautiously as to not damage the pin connectors. You don't want to bend or break these. For step 3, you're going to want to take the game board and disconnect it from the base if you haven't already. Lean it up against the cabinet base and then go to the back of it and disconnect these 2 wires shown here. You're going to want to do this as gently and as smoothly as possible as to make sure you're not damaging the pins within those. For step number 4, you're going to want to flip the game board over and unscrew the black protective case. Why? Getting access to the back of the joystick controls. A pro tip for this step would be using a long screwdriver because it helps to unscrew some of the more hard to reach screws. For step 4, I'm going to show you the precise location of all the screws you're going to need to unscrew in order to get access to the back of the joystick control to check it out and make sure it's fully operational. Here you can see the top 4 screws are relatively straightforward and easy. Some of the other screws are a little bit harder to reach. That's why I suggest using a long Phillips head screwdriver in order to reach and be able to successfully unscrew these. For step number 5, we're going to be checking that all the plastic casings for all 4 directions, up, down, left, and right, are properly attached. Why? To ensure all directions on the joystick can be used. A pro tip for this step is that if the plastic covering is missing for any of the joystick controls, ensure the casings are firmly secure. Alright, so this is by far the most important step of the entire process. Once you get access to the back of the joystick controls, you'll be able to check out the casings that involve the movement of the 4 different directions, up, down, left, and right. Looking at the 4 different casings for the 4 different controllers, you can see that one does not look like the other. I'm not sure if this was poor craftsmanship or just maybe a rush to get these manufactured, but you can see there's no plastic covering for the back of the Homer Simpson joystick, and these casings are not firmly attached. So this is a relatively easy and quick fix. Here I'm just showing you what the casing should look like and how it should sound. So there's a clicking sound for each of the directions. Now when you move this one around, the one that where the casings were not firmly attached, you can see that there is no clicking sound when you move to the left or to the right. This means we have to put these casings back firmly into the position they're supposed to be in. So again, this is a relatively easy and quick and straightforward fix for doing this. The only problem is that there's no plastic covering to keep them in place, but we'll address that later. Here now, once the casings are firmly in place, you can test it to make sure it sounds how it's supposed to sound. And you'll hear a slight clicking noise when you know it's firmly in place in all the different directions. For step 6, we're going to be doing a quick check to ensure all other wires are properly traced and connected. Why? To ensure there aren't any other game board issues. A pro tip for this step would be to follow the different colors of the wires in order to effectively trace them. For step 6, we're just going to be doing a quick check to make sure the wires are traced and connected. For step 7, we're going to be making sure everything is fastened, and we're going to be reattaching the black protective covering. Why? To put everything back together in working order. As another pro tip, as we saw earlier, use a long screwdriver for hard to reach screws. Here in step 7, I'm going to be showing you how I was able to firmly attach the directional casings back to the game board. Now this is kind of a jerry rig, but I was able to use clear shipping tape in order to make sure that these casings were firmly attached, so that when I put everything back together, they wouldn't fall out of place. Now this is only a temporary fix until we're able to get a new plastic covering for all these directional casings from Arcade1Up. This is something that we're going to be actually contacting them for to make sure we're able to get, so that this problem doesn't happen in the future. A pro tip here would be if you hear the clicking sound, you know that the directional casings are firmly in place. There should be an up, down, left, and right one, just as a reference from earlier. To finish off step 7, we're going to simply reattach the black protective covering to the game board. Alright, for our 8th and last step, we're going to be reconnecting the game board wires, screwing the game board back in, plugging the cabinet back into the outlet, and testing it out. This is all to secure the proper reassembly of the game board to the cabinet base. A pro tip here, if you hear the joystick clicking in all the directions, all the movement should be available for each character. Alright, we've made it to the last and final step in the entire process. Woohoo! Here in the first part of step 8, what we're going to be doing is simply reattaching the game board back to the cabinet base using the 4 screws that we unscrewed from before. Here I'm using a power drill with a Phillips head bit. You can also use a hand Phillips head screwdriver. I just prefer the power drill with the Phillips head bit only because it goes faster. But you will want to be careful not to, number 1, strip the screw at all, and number 2, be careful of the game board itself, since this is where your and your 3 friends' hands go in order to control the characters. You want to make sure that this game board is preserved, not only because it's a beautiful piece of art, but it's also a mechanical working part of the cabinet itself. So you don't want to make sure that you don't make this board abrasive at all. You want to keep it nice and smooth in its original condition. All right, we securely fastened it. Look at it. Beautiful. All right, now comes the final and most fun part of the entire process, to turn on the game and see if it worked. Hopefully our fix worked, and now the Homer directional joystick can move in all the different movements it's supposed to. It can go up, down, and left and right. Before we couldn't move to the left or to the right because the movement casings were not securely in place, but we fixed that. So hopefully now it is all working and we're able to control Homer and play this awesome, wonderful game. All right, I'm able to move to the left and to the right. Yes, that's amazing. So our fix must have worked. Now we can play the Simpsons Arcade game with ease and a lot of fun, knowing that all the movements are available and we can attack and jump as necessary. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching our step-by-step tutorial on how to fix the joysticks for the Arcade1Up Simpsons game. If you enjoyed our video and it was helpful to you, make sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe to our channel to help support the future projects of the channel. Once again, I'm going to be showing and resurfacing the step-by-step process, the entire process, so you can take a screenshot of it for future reference. Thanks for watching, and remember, damn, it feels good to be a gamer.